Hello, and thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight, I am going to be talking about all what I've already watched them. So, all what you should be watching while we are spending more time at home. So, since we're not going to be traveling far and wide this year, I have been binge watching a whole lot of shows and just to cure my little travel wanderlust that I'm needing to get out and travel the world. So, I want to give you a little bit of a list of what I suggest that you start watching. You may have heard some of them, you may have seen some of them, and some of them you may not have heard of yet, but I do encourage you to see as many as you can. Now, if you do have any comments, questions, pop them down below and I will answer them after the show. So let's jump in. Okay, so first I'm going to start off with reality TV. And no, it's not like the Kardashian type reality TV, but we're going to start off with the classic and the original one is Anthony Bourdain. So he has 3 different shows, lots of episodes, lots of really cool destinations. So you have Parts Unknown, you have No Reservations, and you have The Layover. So most of these are offered on either Prime or Netflix. I highly suggest you dig in. And what I like to do is when he goes to different places, I like to write down the different restaurants, the different places that he does go to, or the different foods that he talks about. So when I go to that destination, I have a little list going. Next is Our Planet. So these are all among like the same type of nature episodes, but what I also like to do is I like to do the behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, like it's great to see the actual show itself, to see the beautiful landscapes, the animals, and the destinations, but it's really cool to see the behind the scenes ones where you actually get to see what it's really like and how they filmed it and how long it took them, and just the experience that the people actually had doing the show. And then next is Tales by Light. So this one here, again, is sort of like a behind the scenes as well. It's all photographers and filmmakers, and they are really well known. They're going to be shooting for National Geographic and all the top places. So you get to see their process behind the scenes, their images and what they're shooting. It's really, really interesting. So our new favorite at home here is Somebody Feed Phil. We are completely addicted. This is what we watch during our dinner time because you will get hungry while you watch it. So you can start off with I'll Have What Phil's Having. So that's his very first one. It was done on PBS, but it's on Prime right now, so you can see the season. And then Somebody Feed Phil is over on Netflix, and as it got picked up off of PBS and onto Netflix, it's got 3 seasons so far. You will fall in love with Phil. He was the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond. So he's just a super genuine, happy, lovely, lovely guy, and he'll eat anything. Again, I do the same thing as I do to Anthony Bourdain's show. I write down the places that he goes to and what he orders and stuff like that. So I have that list going. So when I go to those different places, I have some great suggestions. Next is Jack Whitehall with Travels with My Father. This is hilarious. If you don't know who Jack Whitehall is, he's a comedian. And he takes his father on his travels, which is really hilarious because his dad is the very stuffy English type gentleman, and and Jack will go and stay in hostels and all sorts of stuff. It is hilarious. So he goes all over the place. There's 2 seasons so far, and you will absolutely be cracking yourself up, along with seeing some really cool places. Next is Paul Hollywood's Big Continental Road Trip. So you will know Paul Hollywood if you watch The Great British Bake Off. Another one of my favorites because I love baking so much. But he is actually one of the judges on that show. So it's only a few episodes, but he goes around, I think he goes to Italy, France, and I think Germany, but he does 3 different countries, and it's a car enthusiast one as well. So he drives cars through the different types of cars in those countries, and he goes around and sees the different cities and whatnot. So it's really nice. Waterfront Cities of the World. Now, this one has a ton of episodes. So I recommend just picking and choosing which ones. This one is on Prime. Basically, it goes around and does waterfront cities, and it tells the history and it tells the information about the city. It shows you what that city is like. It's a really good overview if you're planning on going to certain places that they cover, to have and to know a little bit about that place. Next is James May, Our Man in Japan. This one's a quirky little one. You may know James May from Top Gear. So he, gets out of the car for the most part, and he gets into a lot of different things. He tries a lot of really interesting things in Japan that you didn't know that existed there. So definitely, if you're planning on going to Japan, or if you just want to dream about going to Japan, hit this one up, because you will definitely have a lot of things that you will either say, oh, I want to do that, or not for me. Now in here, Dark Tourist is next. So this one's a little, well, it's on the dark side. So if you want to see a bunch of places, this guy goes to a lot of different places, and he does a lot of weird and unusual things that happen in those cities and countries. So it's probably a lot of stuff that you never want to do, but you might be interested to see what's going on. So it's a nice viewpoint, so you don't have to do it yourself. You can watch someone else go and do those things. I also like border security. I like how this one has America's front line. If you see it from Canada, it says Canada's front line. But, I just love watching how stupid some people can be crossing the border between Canada and America. It's just really interesting, and you actually learn quite a bit what you can do and what you can't do if you don't really know the rules. So it's always a great little 30-minute show. And then House Hunters International. If you haven't been watching this, where have you been? You must have been hiding under a rock, because who doesn't love judging what people are getting in their new country? So basically, it's people moving to a new country, and they are looking for either their house or their apartment. They could be either renting or buying, but yeah, I love judging. A lot of times they do not pick the right house, in my opinion. So definitely watch that. You can see here, this is season 129. Like, there is a lot to see, but it's really, really interesting. Next is Conan Without Borders. Again, he goes around the different countries, and he goes and talks to comedians. He goes and talks to the people. He discovers what that city and that country is like. So another great show. Now, going on to TV series, so basically not reality. These ones take you all over the world. So Treadstone is on Amazon. This one is based off of the Bourne series, so it was kind of like a spin-off. Unfortunately, it wasn't picked up for a second season. I loved it, so I'm kind of sad that it didn't get picked up for a second season, but the first season is excellent. It goes all over the world, and it just gives you a dose of adrenaline. Same with Jack Ryan. This series I really thoroughly enjoy. It's got 2 seasons already, and the second season is in Venezuela. The first season is just when he's getting started, so also in the Middle East. But it's really, really great. So definitely check that out. And Homeland, the Homeland series is one of my absolute favorite TV series. All about, spies and CIA and all that type of stuff. So this one takes you a lot to the Middle East, America, and Europe. It's now over the season, or the whole series is over, so you can binge watch everything and get it all done. There are 7 seasons, but I think there's only about 8 to 10 episodes a season, so you can definitely do that. So you can find those on Amazon and Netflix. Next is The Night Managers. highly, highly recommend this show. It's so good. So Tom Hiddleston is the lead in here, and then you have House, which I can't remember his name. Um, they play so good characters. This again will take you all over the world, and it's only one season. It's only, I think, 8 to 10 episodes. It'll be quick and you will miss it as soon as it's over. So I highly recommend watching that, and you'll get a nice dose of Europe. Next is Killing Eve. Again, a little on the dark side, but it is so good. They travel, they're based in the UK, but they travel all over the world as well. So definitely gives you a nice little dose of the different countries and the different cities. Riviera is a new one to me this year, and it is so good. It's one of those ones. I think it was done in it's an Irish production, but it's all done in the French Riviera, and it is just one of those dramas that gets you sucked in, and you really want to be there because everything is so high end. They are in massive villas. They're driving all the hot cars. The wardrobe is amazing, and plus it's a great storyline. So definitely check that out. I was watching that on Sundance. And if you don't have Sundance, you can download it for 30 days for free, and you can just binge watch the 2 seasons. Next is Outlander. This obviously has a huge cult following, but it's based on the books. It takes place mostly in Scotland, and then in America as well, and the UK. So it's a romantic drama. So if you're into that, you will really love this show. Next is Hannah. Hannah is an Amazon original. The second season just came out, and I'm already done it. The second season was almost better than the first season, and it just takes you a little bit into into Europe, all different places in Europe as well. So it's a great show, and it's just exciting and really thrilling as well. And then I had to put Schitt's Creek in here. If you are not watching this, and if you have not watched this, you really need to. It's the best Canadian show, I think, and it got in here because they stay in a motel. So it's a family that was really wealthy, and they lost all their wealth, and so they had to move into a motel. So it's really great. It's hilarious, and you will start seeing all the quotes that come out of this show, because it is just one of those ones that you will quote all the time. And next is movies. So you might have seen some of these, but sometimes you kind of forget about different movies and skip over them, or, they've passed their, time, so they're not new, so you're not remembering them. A lot of these are a little bit older, but so good. These are my feel-good ones. The 100-Foot Journey. This is all about 2 restaurants, 100 feet away, and the torment one of them does to each other. And again, it's a little bit of romantic drama, comedy type thing, but it is so heartwarming. Next is Salmon Fishing in the Yemen. So this takes place also in Scotland and in the Yemen area. I don't know if they filmed it there, but it's in the Middle East somewhere. But it is, again, another heartwarming show, and really love this. I can watch this over and over again. And the classic, The Bucket List, again, they go all over the world, but if you haven't seen it, really do see it. It's so good. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. This is so good. You will be transported to India, and it's these people that are retired, and they are moving to India because they can't necessarily afford to live in the UK. So they're looking for a better life experience, but not all of them get that. Next is Where'd You Go, Bernadette? I really love this one. It's Cate Blanchett. I love Cate Blanchett. But it happens in Seattle, and then also in the Antarctica. So it's a really cool story. Some great people that are in this movie, and it just gives you the nice feels. One of my absolute favorites is Midnight in Paris. I'm not necessarily a Woody Allen fan, so if you're not a Woody Allen fan, please give this one a shot, because this is one of the very few that I absolutely love. I think it's just the romanticism and just the decades that it goes through. It goes through the 20s in Paris, but also current day and stuff. So it's really, really good. And when I was in Paris, I visited the church that he went to, so just to see if I could get a ride. If you see it, you'll understand what that means. I didn't get a ride. Next is Sergio. This one's on Netflix, and this is based on a true story about Sergio, and he was working at the UN. He was one of the top people in the UN. His story, it was really, really good. It happens in a couple different places in the world, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful story. I really highly recommend this show. And you can't have a list of places that give you wanderlust without putting in the Bourne Identity series and the Mission Impossible series, because they go all over the world and they just make you want to go to those places. And the Grand Budapest Hotel, one of my favorites, very artsy movie, but if you're into that type of thing, it's like a picture in every single frame of this movie. And it just makes me want to go to this place where, it's in Europe somewhere. It's a fictional place, but it's just, you can just see it where, say like in Switzerland or something like that. Secret Life of Walter Mitty, again, is one of my favorite. I have a lot of favorites, can you tell? So Secret Life of Walter Mitty gives me all the feels. It's him traveling to different places. He works for Time magazine. He is the, I guess like the negative handler for Life magazine, and so he's in search of one of the photographers. And so he ends up heading over to a couple different places in the world, and it is so good. Classic, again, Under the Tuscan Sun. If you haven't seen this, yeah, I think you've been living under a rock, but it is one of those dream movies where everyone, well, I don't know if everyone, but I would love to live that movie. Maybe not the first half, but the second half of building and just redoing a Tuscan villa in Italy. So it's just juicy and good. And so these ones are based on true stories. I love based on true stories. Everest, definitely based on a true story. It's climbing Mount Everest, and it's following a group of people that do climb Mount Everest. It gives you a new appreciation how you never want to climb Mount Everest. I don't mind climbing the smaller mountains in that, but yeah, this definitely, I never had any aspirations to climb my Mount Everest anyways, but this definitely solidifies that I never want to do that. But it is absolutely enthralling watching it. Into the Wild, again, based on a true story about the guy who goes to Alaska and he ends up, well, I won't tell you, but it's great. He travels all over the Americas, and it's definitely a great story, and a great movie, great book. So definitely recommend that one. And then The Terminal. This one isn't based on a true story, but it's inspired by a true story. So he's stuck in the terminal, in the airport terminal for a very long time. So really, really great movie. So those are all my suggestions that I have for you. You've got a lot to choose from right now. So this will keep you going probably through the summer, or if you're anything like me, until next week. And this is how you can find me. You can find me through my websites, on Instagram, Facebook, and email. You can also, feel free to contact me if you have any questions about any of my courses, about any travel stuff, or of any of my tours that are happening next year. And if you want, you can join my Facebook community. I send out emails once a week with new travel information for you. So you can download my free planner here that comes with your first email, and you will be on your way to planning your future trips. So I hope you have a great night, and I will see you when I see you. All right.